great aunt's Ruth's apartment, and great aunt is related to Jordan by Ruth is
Aunt.
your your mother's father's sister from the Zager side. Jordan, you're supposed to be smiling. Right? And Aunt Ruth's maiden name, Zager. Zagers came originally from Russia, Poland, right?
Russia.
You want a minute to think about it?
I
Let
don't
him ask the
know.
question.
I'd have to look it up.
So where is the origin of our family? Where did it come from?
Well, they came from a place in Russia called Vilna. It was close to the Polish border. And my father brought part of his family to the United States a couple at a time because I guess well, my aunt had a problem, so she couldn't come in to the United States. She had to go back. Then he sent for her later, and that's about what I know. My mother was in her teens when she came here, and my father came with her.
They came by boat? By boat?
I don't know the name of the boat, but of course they didn't go first class. That was for
Do you
sure.
know about what year it was when the family
I don't
migrated?
remember, but my mother and dad got married in 1917. And probably they came here 3 to 5 years earlier, I would imagine, because they were young children. And I really don't know too much about how they lived in Europe, but my mother got a tutor so the girls could learn Hebrew and things like that. My aunt played the violin. My aunt Florence. My mother was the one of
Where
three
they lived?
sisters.
Did they live in Brooklyn?
Then they came to Brooklyn. They lived at Barrett Street in Brooklyn. And my grandfather worked in a factory. You know that? He was.
No.
You want to know that?
Yeah.
He made the shoes, and my father also went into that same line of work.
Father Jacob.
My father, Jacob, they called him Jake.
Jacob Zager, and your mother was
And my mother was Anna.
Resnick.
Well, that was her maiden name.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And the Resnicks came when Anna was a little girl or a teenager?
Say again?
She came to America. They had 3 daughters, right?
Yeah. Florence, Rose, and my mother was Anna. And of course, all the girls married. They had children. I don't want to go into all that. And we all lived in Brooklyn, and we saw each other a lot. We were a very close family. And then as everyone grew older and married, they all settled in different parts of maybe the United States, Florida, Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm.
And I remained in Brooklyn all these years, and I love where I am. And it's very convenient where I live. We have restaurants, shops, and transportation. Makes it very easy for me. And I'm so happy that you all came, Jordan, with your parents. We don't get to see each other very often, but it's a real pleasure. And if you want to ask something else that I can't think of right now.
That's
I
good.
have a question for you. I remember your mother, my Nana Anna, we called her Nana. She told me when she was a young girl they lived in Russia, and her father, her father,
Had a shoe
her
repair.
father was here in America was a shoe repair business.
He had to
In Europe, he fixed the shoes of the Russian soldiers, the Cossacks.
Probably.
And she told me that even though the Jews were harassed and robbed and beaten up, they were persecuted in Russia, and that was why they came to America. But their family was not, they were better off because the Cossacks needed him to fix the boots. So they didn't take from them and they didn't steal from them. And I remember her telling me that they had a vegetable garden either in front or in back of the
Oh, that
house.
was when we moved to Brighton.
Well, I was thinking in Russia, but the
Oh,
same
they must have
customs.
had it there too,
The same
but-
customs when they came to America in Brighton. They
They
had.
brought their customs with them,
Mhm.
right? My dad had a repair shop in Brooklyn. We lived in the back, and we had a great big garden with the large tomatoes and carrots and beets and lettuce, and it was really nice. We lived near the beach, and my brother and I went to the beach frequently. My mother and dad went to the beach. They both know how to swim much better than I did. And as a matter of fact, my dad used to take me about 7 o'clock in the morning. We'd go to the beach, and it was just beautiful. It was like the water was like a lake. You could see your toes in the water. And a lot of people, Italian people mostly, they used to take tear mussels from the rocks in the water and eat them raw because it was fresh. The water was clean. And it was a real pleasure being there. It was like living on an island. Well, it is an island, but like it wasn't so densely populated. And that was where a lot of the children would hang out, and because they didn't have the advantages that the children have today, with all kinds of different things to do, horseback riding and the martial arts and the music, and we didn't have those privileges because it took a lot of money.
Was Steeplechase Park there yet?
Excuse me?
Steeplechase Park, remember?
Oh,
that- was it there
my
then?
mother was a mother, that the parent that used to take her children everywhere. We'd go to the museum in New York and the Battery Tunnel, or thereabouts. They had an aquarium there, and my mother used to take us. My mother used to take us to Luna Park. That was in Coney Island, and that was a big deal. Luna Park, a lot of people used to come. And there was Steeplechase, also
That's
a
right.
park with all kinds
I
of
remember
rides,
Steeplechase
and you had Frankfurters on the boardwalk.
Nathan's.
And Nathan's Frankfurters, which is very famous, and custard, and all those things.
And
the simple things
Mrs.
in
Stahl's
life.
knishes. Mrs. Stahl's?
Mrs. Stahl's knishes, which is another famous
Is this
thing.
still around today?
And I don't think they have that anymore.
They just, 2 years, I think 2 years ago, Russians bought it.
Yes, the Russians. The Russians now have populated a large area,
Right.
different place in Brooklyn, and they've taken over this area and Kings Highway, and they have started businesses with vegetable stores and mostly grocery stores and expensive dress shops with their type of style, which they really have invaded this area.
Isn't that ironic? When your parents came here, they were Russian immigrants, learning English, trying to be Americanized, and now, 3 generations later, the Russian immigrants have come over, and it's now like a little Russia over here.
But it's different for them. They have more advantages than our parents had when they came because they didn't have the different organizations that helped them pay the rent in their apartments and various other advantages which the immigrants from our parents' time
Oh, no. They did it on their own
they
back
had to
then.
do everything on their own.
A lot of times they would send one family member over to get settled, and the rest would come later. And in your case, the family came together. Your great-grandparents came with your parents, right? With your Nana Anna and her 3 sisters.
Right.
And
Right.
Papa Jake came from the same village in Russia. They knew each other, they knew the family,
Right.
and they fell in love with each other. Not that it was an arranged marriage, but from familiarity, from knowing each other, knowing families, they ended up together and lasting. How many years were they married? 50. I
How
don't know.
many years were they married? They were married, 50 positively. They were married more than 50 years. Probably about 60 years.
Till Jacob died?
As a matter of fact, my parents had their 50th in your
Grandma
Your-
Janice's house.
Janice's, Grandma Janice,
Yes.
and my brother, who was your grandfather, Conrad, and they made a beautiful affair in their
Finished downstairs room. The basement was
Yeah,
finished.
very nice, yeah. Janice made pretty things for decorating the tables, and it was really very nice, and
It's a big party.
that was the 50th, yeah. have a picture up here. You want to take the picture?
Sure.
There's a picture right up there.
Let's
We'll
move
go
over
frame.
with the camera.
You think of our, you know.
Just stand there and zoom in on it.
Where is it?
Right up there.
Okay, let me see if it goes.
You won't see it from here.
Okay.
Not that picture. Not those pictures. That's
Not
Jack
those?
and
Oh,
mine.
yeah, I
No.
can see that.
Those are when Jack and I went on a cruise. Yeah.
Jordan, you want to ask any more questions
Hold it.
for history? Oh, how lovely. Let me turn the camera on again.
Sit down. You're gonna.
Is it still recording or no? No, it's on close.
Just hold it.
Oh,
This is a
look.
picture of the 50th wedding anniversary of my parents. That's your grandparents.
And the names again?
And that's my mother Anna and my father Jacob. Unfortunately, they're both
Glare in
gone.
the glass, yes.
Taking the kids fishing. My brother and I, want to hear that? I don't know.
Always. Jordan, go sit down next to Aunt Ruth. You know how much I
I
love
would
to
go to
fish?
Hollywood, who knows?
I love to fish, and your Uncle Mitch loves to fish, and
That's
you also
right.
love to fish.
That's
You know,
right.
that's in your roots, that's in your history.
That's right.
From,
You ready? My dad used to take my brother and myself fishing. He used to go on the Esplanade, that's Manhattan Beach. And in the middle of the winter, it was so cold, we were freezing. And my dad used to love taking us, and sometimes in the winter months, the whiting used to come out of the water onto the shore. And my dad used to have high boots and pick up the whiting and have a big barrel, like a barrel in a vegetable store. And we used to clean the fish and then give them out to the neighbors. We
so
had
much
great-
fish, you would give out
we
the
had-
extra.
Yeah, we had so much, and we cleaned it for the neighbors. I helped my dad clean it. That was not a very nice job, but it was fun. It was fun.
And what kind of dishes would you make with the whiting?
Oh, my mother used to take that, and sometimes she would marinate it, and she would have a group of friends, and she had the best meeting because nobody else could afford fish, marinated fish. And when she served, it was a real treat for all they were like distant cousins, that kind of a club.
Cousins.
And,
Oh,
yeah,
cousin club,
yeah,
right.
yeah.
We all had cousins.
And nobody ever served what my mother did, and it was all things to remember and the things to, bring you joy when you think about that.
Tradition, just like we happen to be here now, and it happens to be Christmas, and we'll talk to Daddy's side of the family where they celebrate Christmas, and we just got done celebrating Hanukkah and all the traditional dishes, right? For the
Right,
holidays.
right.
But I was raised Jewish.
Yes.
Just tell me, I'm not right, I'm saying, what time do we have to be?
That was bar mitzvah. Yeah, it was Alan's bar
Let's
mitzvah, I think.
Yeah, let's go.
Anyway.
It's just gonna fall.
This is what I want to
This
tell
is
you.
Barry and Alan.
That
These are your 4 children, my
this is
cousins,
Barry,
Joyce
Alan, Joyce, and Todd.
and Todd.
The time of, I think it was Alan's bar mitzvah, Joyce got sick and couldn't come to the bar mitzvah. So your grandmother,
Nana Minnie.
who was very talented, she would see a dress in the window, and from memory, she would make a dress just like that.
It was amazing.
And
She
this
was
dress
amazing.
that my daughter has on, she made that dress. I saw this, there used to be a very fashionable store on Kings Highway called Fairyland. And despite the
Nice,
fact
right?
that Joyce couldn't go to the bar
Oh,
mitzvah,
beautiful.
your grandmother saw this dress that I described in the shop and made it with this beautiful fabric, an imported fabric. Just by looking at it, she made that beautiful dress. And these pictures were taken after the bar mitzvah so that Joyce would be included.
Looks like it was
Isn't that nice?
Because Joyce was sick and she wasn't able to go?
No, she was very sick.
Lovely.
Same factory, he said, and whenever you invite me, there's always so much food on the table and everything.
What?
You know,
what's
those
going
years
on?
you opened up a can of tomato herring, and you made a little salad, and it was like a big deal. And if you made soup, so you ordered it, everybody had food to eat. That's the truth, you know.
Right? If
You
one
can
more's
always
coming
say
to
that.
dinner, you put a little more water in the soup.
Exactly.
You have another piece
Exactly.
of bread.
And nobody ever knew whether my parents had or they didn't have. There was always plenty of food to eat.
Nice
Yeah.
memories.
Yeah.
2.
Does she have
No, wait a minute. You don't know. This is an in-law. That's not. See, these are my grandparents. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay.
6 children. How come 6?
Wow.
I remember 7. Frankly, if I was going to just say it.
I thought there was more than that, like
1,
11.
2, 3,
Did you look on anybody's skirt?
4, 5, 6, 7.
Okay.
I forgot Annie.
Hmm?
Hold it
Okay,
up.
let's hear what it is.
The family portrait. One of the many family portraits. Tell me when you're
And
finished.
these were what? The Ossip House.
Yes.
And the father, what was his name?
Herman.
Which one?
Herman. Your mother was named after him.
Huh?
Yes. The H
Janice.
reverts to the J.
Uh-huh.
Yes, like in Spanish.
Well, I know I was named for Sarah. Huh. See,
Right, Sarah, right. That's Sarah.
Mhm.
Sarah.
I see Sarah
Wait, tell me if I could put this picture down.
anytime. So let's see.
The
Where did,
reason I said one of, you can interrupt me with a question whenever you want. But this is a background that's very dear to me. I love history, and my family history is.
Without history, there's nothing.
That's
I
right.
have a
There's no
question.
basis on which to build, right?
I have a question. Could I go get something to drink? Do you mind?
Oh, you want a drink?
Yeah.
Up in the refrigerator, and open a couple of closets you'll find a
Can we take
glass.
that out?
Fine, I'll take it out. Why don't you, I know we looked at the picture and there are 6 children. How about the story, where they came from, when they came
Oh.
on?
They all came from Barbara. There is no such town now. Barbara was a town in Russia.
Russia.
In Russia, and they came. I don't know if Gramsci was about 4 years old, and this is my picture of my mother at this time. That's her Jewish name was Musha, and so her nickname was Mushy. And Mushy was born
Does anybody else want anything warm
a drink.
No, thank you. You want a drink, baby?
Yes, one for Jordan.
Where was this taken in?
Where was what taken?
What
The
year?
picture.
This picture was taken in the east side of New York.
They were already in America.
Yes, they were
And-
already here. Mushy was born the 1900, the turn of the century. So it's very easy to know when, except it's unfortunate this picture doesn't have a date, but if I can remember, she was something like 14 years old.
So it was
at
around
that-
1914,
Mhm.
1915.
approximately. And this was one of many family pictures taken because it was very much in vogue at that time for women to be failing, fainting, frail. That was considered an asset. And my grandmother fit into it perfectly. She was always about to die. And so another family picture had to be taken.
Because we didn't know how long she had.
She's not going to last. She was a very slender woman, a very bright woman. In her age, it was unusual for women to read and write.